Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another video, and today's video is going to be all about Chelsea's potential new signing Timo Werner from RB Leipzig, the inside story of how Chelsea landed the RB Leipzig forward. But before we get into any of that, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also hit that like button if you're enjoying the content, because it helps out the channel as well. But let's get into it with this story from The Athletic, and we're going to be going through a range of articles today that were really good and insightful on this deal and how it came to be. So firstly, from The Athletic, the inside story of how Chelsea landed Timo Werner. A bunch of reporters from The Athletic came in to write this: Liam Toomey, David Ornstein, James Pearce, who's a Liverpool correspondent, Simon Johnson, and Raphael Honigstein, who is a German football expert. Less than 3 weeks ago, Timo Werner's mind was in Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp had won him over, making clear his admiration and convincing him over the course of 2 meetings and several WhatsApp chats that Anfield would be the best fit for the striker. It seemed an inevitable move. Chelsea's success in convincing one of Europe's most prolific goal scorers to instead pick West London owes much to the speed with which they moved when the opportunity presented itself, as well to owner Roman Abramovich's willingness to spend what others would not. Chelsea will finalise a £54 million deal to sign Werner from RB Leipzig next week, having agreed to match the release clause in his contract and add him to a dynamic young squad already set to be bolstered by the arrival of Hakim Ziyech from Ajax this summer. So the article goes into Liverpool's delay, the financial problems they've had during this pandemic, and how basically that's ruled them out of making any big deals this summer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer having a meeting with Werner back in February, but Manchester United, without being able to sell Paul Pogba, weren't willing to make this deal happen, and then that gave the opportunity to Chelsea. And as the article points out, Chelsea presented no such stipulations, and Frank Lampard personally called Timo Werner to explain how he would fit into the club's broader plans for the future. Over the course of 2 lengthy phone conversations, the striker warmed to the appeal of working under another admiring coach and joined a promising young squad. So even with COVID-19 restrictions, Chelsea have been willing to make deals happen, willing to try and get Werner, which they have been able to. And it's really impressive, really, how quickly Chelsea and efficiently Chelsea have moved, which shows you the difference between maybe this year to last year, which we're going to get into, and the unity within Chelsea's transfer business, which I think is a really encouraging sign for the future, especially under Frank Lampard currently. So Chelsea matched that release clause, and the rumours as well that Antonio Rudiger was trying to convince Werner to join Chelsea as well, because the two played together at Stuttgart earlier in their career, and also of course played together for Germany. That gets referenced in the article, so thanks Rudy for that. That's why he's one of my favourite players, so now you know. But going into then Petr Cech's role in Chelsea's transfers, and Matt Law wrote a brilliant article, because he was really the one that broke the original stories about Werner to Chelsea on Tuesday, about Chelsea trying to plot a move, and then on Thursday breaking the news that Werner had agreed to join Chelsea. But then he's written a couple of follow-up articles that I think are really interesting. So this one about Petr Cech's role in Chelsea transfers. Law reveals how there was a meeting not only with Frank Lampard but with Petr Cech as well, and both of them convincing Timo Werner to join. And I think what this shows you is how involved Petr Cech is going to be in Chelsea's recruitment. And I think just a small point that, I picked up on as well is that you've got to think, look at Werner's age. He's 24 years old. He's only 2 years older than me currently. And you've got to think he was about 16 years old when Chelsea won the Champions League in Munich. And not only that, but, in the course of their careers, Werner would have grown up watching Frank Lampard and Petr Cech. Despite Frank Lampard not being the most experienced coach, I think the weight of stature of who he is within football and the world football stage, I think is going to have maybe a beneficial impact on signing players and convincing them to join his project at Chelsea. But having that personal touch, we heard similar with these conversations with Hakim Ziyech, that Frank Lampard was calling Hakim Ziyech as well, speaking to him about how he would fit into Chelsea's plans. And I think it really helps. It really helps integrate these players into the club, make them feel welcome, make them feel like they're a big part of the club's plans. And I think that shows intent, and I think it shows the modern approach maybe to transfers. And I think another thing that Matt Law references as well is how there can be a lot of references made and parallels made to Chelsea's last, in my opinion, I think a lot of people's opinions, last really successful window, which was the summer of 2014, when we signed Diego Costa and Cesc Fabregas very early on. And it very much feels like that. We very much feel in the current time that Chelsea are not messing about with transfers. They are going out there. They're trying to sign their first targets. They're trying to get it done as early as possible. And considering the unpredictable time of the pandemic at the moment, I think that's equally impressive. And I think what it shows you is Lampard has got the faith and trust of the Chelsea board. They want to give him the players he wants. They want to back him to the hill and make sure he has all the tools he needs to make his vision come to reality at Chelsea. And that's something that should please Chelsea fans. Whether we personally agree, I've said this in videos before, whether we personally agree with the targets we're linked with, I think just the fact we've had previous conflicts with Antonio Conte and other managers and Jose Mourinho before that of them not getting their fast targets, and we saw how the fallout of that, the negative fallout and effects of Chelsea, not only during their tenure, but the fallout after that as well. And we don't want to see that again. We want to see more unified thinking, and I think the unity within Chelsea currently seems to be really good and seems to be really strong, and it looks like Chelsea are going to be really serious in the coming years of trying to bolster the squad to get us back to the top of the Premier League, which is a positive. And I think, yeah, it's still a bit of a shock to me that Timo Werner is probably going to be a Chelsea player next year. It's come out of nowhere. Like a lot of transfers, whenever I'm talking about transfer windows, I always stress you never know what's around the corner. Transfers, especially with Chelsea, they keep them so secretive and it can happen within a matter of days. And both Hakim Ziyech and Timo Werner have been like that. It's literally come out of nowhere. Yes, we heard about the rumours for Timo Werner, but I think a lot of us maybe suspected, there's still a way to go for this player to come to Chelsea. Very much, I think most people would admit that they thought that Liverpool were going to get him before us. But it shows you really, I think, how serious Chelsea are, how affected they are, how all the reports of Roman being really serious in this transfer window after the transfer ban. So that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch it. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea. Have a great day and I'll see you again.